This person, Suzi Le Fanue, is one of my absolute most favourite people in the world. Suzi is a naturopath and a nutritionist, and if anyone knows anything about balance, it's her, because that is her full-time job, is helping women find physical balance. But she'll talk about all of the elements of holistic health balance in the way that she works. She's the one person that if I could get inside her brain for a day and absorb all of her knowledge, I definitely would. She's the most skilled naturopath that I've ever worked with. To say what your job is, because basically your job is to balance people and manage your own balance amongst doing that. So tell us a little bit about what you do first.
So I'm a naturopath on the Sunshine Coast. I became a naturopath out of curiosity as a result of my own health issues. Curiosity in the way of there has to be more. So I have to understand my health better. I'd been to lots of different practitioners. I wasn't getting the answers that I knew were there. I just knew that I could feel better. So essentially I ended up to study to become a naturopath, and my role now is helping people better understand their health so that they can bring back balance. And so that whether that's balance in their life or whether it's balance on a biochemical level. So everything in health really is about balance. So essentially that's my role as a naturopath, is to help to educate people and empower them.
Cool. And so with the women that you work with, what would you say is the most common health issue that you see with women, if there is one?
If I could choose one would probably be, I would actually say it's not a condition. So I would say that it's, so condition meaning they don't come in and say I've got high blood pressure or I've got IBS. It would be that they're tired, overwhelmed, unmotivated, not sure what's happening with their health.
Okay.
So burnt out, essentially. Yeah. Okay. So but burnt out's not a technical medical term.
Well, I think it is. I'm sure we'll come up with an official diagnosis for burnout.
Yeah. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing that women in particular come in with. So they're just really, I find a lot of the time with women, what happens is that naturally they give a lot, so on an energy and a physical level, and they end up essentially with their own cup kind of being depleted. And so then the result of that is the mentical, I just made that word up.
That's a great term, the mentical. I'm going to use that. I'm stealing that.
Mental and physical depletion. So they're burnt out. That's the biggest thing. Adrenal fatigue. That's probably, if I was to have the medical term slotted in there, it would be adrenal fatigue.
And why do you think that is in our kind of day and age?
Yeah, so I really, the way that I like to describe it is describing that what the fight or flight response is. So the fight or flight response is our stress response in the body. So when we're exposed to a stress, say for example, something jumping out in front of you, you get a fright, and your body releases these hormones to help you cope with that stress, but then that person they move away, and the stress response, it goes down. Mm. What happens in our life now is that we're continually exposed to stress. So we're so busy, and often people will kind of use busy as a word that they say quite proudly, like I'm really busy. But it's not necessarily something to be proud of. Yeah. So maybe productive might be a better word. But we really are very busy. So it doesn't matter what age bracket it is, even with children, they're a lot more busy than what, say, if we went back 20 years ago. Women in this day have so much more demand in a different sort of way. So it's a demand that I feel that from a physical and a mental level that the body, it just can't keep up with it so much. So we're getting those fight or flight or stress responses instead of, say, once or twice a day, it's kind of doing this continually over the day. Or in some people, what you see is that they wake up in the morning, their body goes in this stress response, or they're busy, and then they stay busy or stressed all day, and then by the end of the day, they're absolutely exhausted and wiped out, which then means that they don't sleep as well. And then the cycle repeats itself. So we're not supposed to be in that stress response, and that being busy or overproductive as well can even be in positive situations. So the way that I describe to people what I mean by this is, if you go on holidays, even when you're sightseeing and you're having fun, but it's continual with time, even on a holiday, all that sightseeing, even though you enjoy it, you do start to feel tired. So you can enjoy what you're doing every day and absolutely love it, but if you don't balance that downtime, then essentially your body is flicking into that fight or flight response continually, because it uses the same hormones. Yeah, so that's what I truly believe, that we're just in that busy, overproductive response for too long, and too continual, and not taking the time to switch off and relax.
There's something I just want to rewind back to when we're talking about this kind of stress response system or the endocrine system, and the effect of that on other bodily systems, or on the rest, or on our hormonal system or gut health, and how that flow can work.
Yeah, so many people many practitioners would argue that the stress response, you can pretty much link it to any illness and disease. The very first thing that I explain with this stress response is what it does to the digestive system. So being in the stress response, it makes your body release a hormone called cortisol. And along the digestive lining, so the gut, just imagine that it's a long tube, you've got these little hairs, and they move like this. They sweep all your food along, they absorb all of your nutrients. When you're in a stress response, they draw back. So when they draw back, your nutrient absorption reduces.
So they're actually scared.
Reduces. Everything goes out of balance. Yeah.
They're actually freaking out.
That's what happens, yeah, because that fight or flight response, it's part of the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system means basically the nervous system in it's being automatic. It's split into two sections. So you've got the fight or flight response, and then the rest and digest. And so they're like a little bit of a seesaw. So when your body's in fight or flight response, this ability to rest and digest reduces. The body doesn't really care about how well you're producing your poop at that time if you're really stressed. If you're trying to run away and look after yourself, it's like, I don't really care what you're doing with the poop and the food. It's just trying to help you to cope. But if that happens continually, your digestive system ends up to suffer. But the big picture of it is that if that absorption drops, a lot of your hormones, every pathway can go out of balance if you don't have nutrients.